For several minutes, she walked, unaware that her feet were leading Cereza to the hall or living room where they had previously used as a shooting location. The living room now had the same quiet and deserted atmosphere as the hallway, with the moonlight providing natural illumination. It seems like I've walked too far. How did I end up in this room? Cereza felt puzzled because arriving here wasn't part of her plan. While still puzzled, Cereza noticed a woman standing there, her back turned to her. Judging by her posture and hairstyle, the woman appeared to resemble Mia, one of her junior girls. Without delay, Cereza illuminated the figure with the light from her phone and slowly walked toward her. "Mia? What are you doing here?" Cereza asked, showing no suspicion or strangeness about the woman's presence. "Are you looking for the restroom? Or, are you hungry?" she asked again, but the figure continued to ignore Cereza, offering no response. Cereza surveyed her surroundings, still shining the light from her phone, seemingly undisturbed or annoyed by being ignored. "It's dark and a bit eerie in here. Didn't you bring a flashlight?" Cereza inquired again. After a few seconds of scanning the area, she refocused her light on the figure. "I'm sleepy. I'm going back to my room." Cereza yawned, her free left hand covering her mouth. "Oh, by the way, don't stay here for too long. It's cold. There's a lot of work tomorrow, don't stay up late." After giving this advice, Cereza smiled at the girl still facing away. As Cereza was about to turn around, she heard a sound of pain coming from the figure. She immediately changed her mind because the sound was quite clear in the vast, quiet room. It sounded as if someone was suffering and experiencing something very painful. Although the sound gave her chills, Cereza still couldn't bear to leave the figure in front of her. "What's wrong? Are you in pain?" Cereza quickly asked, showing great concern for the figure. This time, Cereza even walked closer to her. She stopped half a step behind the girl. "Mia." Cereza's right hand reached out to touch the girl's right shoulder. Her hand froze when she saw the figure slowly turning towards her with a gradual motion. As the girl turned around, something suddenly tapped Cereza on the shoulder. The gentle tap startled Cereza, and she instinctively turned around, raising her hand to slap the figure that had surprised her. It was Alaric and Xander, and it was Xander who received the slap. The sound of the slap was loud and clear, indicating that it wasn't a light one. Alaric burst into laughter instantly, while Xander held his cheek, looking bewildered because he had been unexpectedly slapped. Cereza directed the light from her phone onto the two men so she could see them clearly. "Oh, it's you guys. You really startled me," Cereza said, seemingly unapologetic as she touched her chest, as if genuinely shocked by the loud sound. Alaric continued to laugh before Xander smacked him.
"Why did I get slapped?"
Xander asked with a hint of injustice in his tone. Cereza immediately lowered the light from her phone. "Sorry, it was accidental," Cereza said with an innocent smile, showing no remorse after slapping Xander's face for no apparent reason. Her apology also seemed insincere.
"It was accidental, but it felt really hard."
Xander mumbled quietly, rubbing his sore and warm cheek.
"Plus, she doesn't seem sorry at all."
Alaric muttered under his breath. That was the truth. Xander nodded.
"Senior, what are you doing here?"
The men addressed Cereza and her friends with the term senior, even though the men were about the same age as Charlize and Kyrie. This was done simply because they were junior students at the university, and since they were in the same field of study, they used the title out of initiative. Cereza and the others didn't mind or care how the men referred to them, as long as it wasn't disrespectful or offensive. "Just taking a walk. What are you guys doing here?" Cereza replied while posing a question. She then noticed that the faces of the two men had turned pale, and they appeared frightened. "By the way, why do you both look so pale?"
"My face is red because I was slapped,"
Xander retorted, looking hurt for being slapped for no reason. "I already apologized. Besides, you shouldn't have startled me." Cereza blamed Xander, thinking it was his fault for surprising her.
"Yeah, Guys are always wrong.
Xander replied with a smirk. Cereza smiled in triumph. See, you know it. So why are you both here? Aren't you going to sleep? There's a lot of work tomorrow. Cereza repeated the topic, as she hadn't received an answer yet.
Oh, about that. We just saw a ghost.
Xander and Alaric seemed to have paled in fear, as if they had just been reminded of the incident they had experienced before meeting Cereza.
Yes, we saw it when we were about to enter our room.
Alaric continued. A ghost? Cereza asked with a casual tone and expression, as if what the two men were saying was too ordinary to surprise her.
Yes, a headless woman.
Xander replied, nodding to confirm it, with Alaric nodding as well. Inside your room? Cereza asked, again with an unimpressed tone. She seemed to treat their words as mere gossip.
Yeah, that's right. We're serious. I'm still trembling.
Xander added with a panicked tone that hadn't yet subsided.
I got chills.
Is that why you've been holding hands since we met? Cereza pointed out, directing her attention to their intertwined hands. Alaric and Xander quickly shifted their gaze to where she was pointing, and they saw that they were indeed holding hands. They had been doing so without realizing it, as if they were a couple.
What is this?
Alaric, now realizing that they were holding hands, abruptly pushed Xander's hand away.
Ugh, you were the one who initiated it.
Xander retorted, not wanting to be blamed.
Grosh.
Alaric responded with a disgusted expression. But after that, Xander didn't argue further. Whether it was a joke or not, he didn't want to prolong it.
Okay, you're right. You were the first one to hold me. No, it wasn't me,
Enough, both of you. Cereza quickly interrupted, mediating between the two to prevent them from debating over something unimportant. Don't argue when you both love each other.
We don't love each other. Yeah, I'm not gay.
Okay, if that's the case, stop arguing. Beside, I just joking. They both fell silent and obediently followed Cereza's instructions. It seems like this house is genuinely spooky. Cereza thought to herself as she responded to the actions of the two men. Xander and Alaric then refocused their attention on her.
Earlier, we saw a lot of blood, and it was standing near Dustin.
Xander continued discussing the sighting they had witnessed earlier.
The ghost had a face that...
Okay, that's enough. Cereza immediately stopped their story. She directed her left hand forward to silence them. Both men were clearly surprised by her reaction.
Why are you so nonchalant?
Alaric asked.
This is real. We're not making it up.
Xander reassured her. I didn't see it firsthand, so why be afraid? Cereza asked while lowering her hand.
Well, that's true.
Listen, I believe this house must have its share of ghosts, and you might have just seen one of them by chance. But you guys are men, so why overreact? Be a little cooler. Cereza scolded the two men, rather than providing a solution. They both appeared bewildered by her words.
Senior, fear is a natural reaction, regardless of gender and age. It's normal for guys to be scared because it's human.
Alaric responded with emphasis and understanding. He explained in self-defense that men were also human and it was perfectly normal to feel fear.
And being cool won't help when you've seen a ghost right in front of your face.
Xander continued after nodding in agreement with Alaric. Okay, let's stop talking about ghosts. Cereza had no other words to respond to and refute the two men's statements, so she decided to end the conversation.
But...
Stop. I said stop, or I'll hit you. Cereza quickly interrupted again.
Rough.
Listen, both of you, don't overthink it, get some rest, and don't talk about ghosts anymore. There's no need to spread the word about what you've seen, only you need to know. Don't frighten others. Their work won't be effective if they're scared later. Cereza didn't seem to care about what had been reported by the two men, and she even changed the topic of conversation after closing the discussion.
All right,
Alaric replied, knowing that this conversation wouldn't lead to anything, so there was no point in insisting.
So, what should we do then?
Xander asked because Cereza's words and instructions didn't offer any resolution for them. Go to sleep over there, and don't discuss ghosts anymore. Cereza ordered with an indifferent tone, as if she had never heard what Xander and Alaric had said.
But the ghost is in our room.
Xander responded, pointing toward the hallway, indicating that he meant their own room. In that case, don't sleep in the room. It's simple. Cereza replied nonchalantly. She truly didn't care about their condition.
Ha! Move, you mean?
Alaric asked. Yeah, that's it. I'm going back to my room. Cereza quickly decided to leave Alaric and Xander behind and turned around to face the woman she thought was Mia. Mia, are you? Cereza didn't continue her sentence when the woman she believed to be Mia had disappeared from where she last stood.
Senior, who are you talking to?
Xander asked, and they became puzzled by Cereza's behavior.
We're right here. Why are you looking over there?
Alaric asked. Cereza made a puzzled face because the woman had completely vanished without her noticing, and she didn't immediately respond to the questions from the two men. Xander and Alaric didn't speak any further, waiting for Cereza's reply. For a moment, Cereza scratched her head while looking around to find the woman's whereabouts, but because she didn't find any results, she turned back to face the two men. It seems like I've also seen a ghost just now. Cereza finally spoke, which also surprised the two men, and they quickly showed frightened expressions. Cereza screamed and ran towards the hallway, intending to go back into her room. The two men looked at each other and then shouted as well.